Gata jaras gata pavun charava, bal yaras dil dokhavun charava. Gata jaras gata pavun charava, bal yaras dil dokhavun charava. Hind Musalman Sikh to Isai boi, ak ekis dok vatnavun charava. Esteemed panel, my teacher Zafar Saab, Ranjan ji, and other members here, Professor Nirja ji, and I can see a lot of teachers of mine here, and to the entire audience, good afternoon, adab and salam. I am highly thankful to the entire team of Kashmir History Foundation, especially Sunanda ji and Ranjan ji, who have given me the invitation to come all the way from GNU to talk about something on Kashmir, sources of Kashmir Shaivism. See, when we talk of the terms like mysticism or like Kashmir Shaivism, so these are all experiential things. Mysticism of any religion, be it the Islam, we call it Sufism, be it the Bhaktism of the Hinduism, or mysticism of Christianity, they are all experiential things. They are not to be expressed in the discourses. And especially जब हम कश्मीर शैविज्म की बात करते हैं तो सबसे बड़े आचार्य अभिनव गुप्त जी लिखते ही अपने किताब में, वो कहते हैं कि अभिनव गुप्त नाथ लिखतम हृदय, कि whatever Abhinava Gupta writes, he writes on the heart. So what he meant by saying this is like, I am not just discussing this Kashmir Shaivism in the discourses, but I am one who follows it religiously. And the same thing is being vernacularized by Laldet, who says, Yim pada laili vain. Tim hirdayanuk, those stanzas which were being spoken by the Lal, we must all now follow them by the heart. So that's why when we talk about the philosophies, like the Western philosophies and the Indic philosophies, so there is one Western scholar whose name is Perry Ador. He's a French philosopher. So while discussing or writing a book on the Indic philosophies, he's of the opinion that Indian philosophies are not something just discourses which we discuss with the people, but at the very first place they are ways of life. ये जिंदगी जीने का एक proper तरीका है. And then these ways of life then invoke some discourse to make people aware what this way of life is all about. So when we talk about the Kashmir, early Kashmir, not in the sense of strict geography, but Kashmir as a space, so we can see Kashmir was a space which was intellectually so rich. We have produced like philosophers, historians, theologians, like aestheticians, like the poets of par excellence. Still, those philosophers are being taught in the Western universities. I was recently attending one of the seminars in the Center for Philosophical Studies in GNU, and one of the renowned philosopher, Arindam Chakrabarti, many people might be knowing him. So he was talking about the Kant, then he came down to the Nyaya philosophy of like we have in India. So he was of the opinion, I was there, he says that among all the Nyayika philosophers, those who preach, teach Nyaya, one of the finest according to him was the Jayant Bhatt. And to the Jayant Bhatt, my teacher Zafar Sahab introduced me like 2 years back. He gave me his text called Agam Adambar, or he is the same Jayant Bhatt who has written the Nyaya Manjari. So I got so happy that when philosophers like Arindam Chakrabarti is of the opinion that the most nuanced or scholarly Nyayika, if there is someone who is a Jayant Bhatt. Why I was happy? Because the Jayant Bhatt comes from the 9th century Kashmir. And I have seen professors like in the JNU saying that when they teach like Sanskrit aesthetics or other like subjects, they are of the opinion that we fail to understand why all these intellectuals come from the pre-modern Kashmir. So it doesn't come in my mind that I am a Muslim and Abhinav Gupta is a Hindu or he is a Shaivite. But what immediately comes to my mind is that somebody is from Kashmir to whom the people in the GNU like spaces are recognizing. So when we talk about the different fields, so we have contributed so much that world is like still in shock how they can. For example, we have a Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra, where he talks about the 8 kinds of rasas in the dramaturgy or other things. So he was being criticized by the inadequacies of in that rasa theory by a scholar from Kashmir like Anand Vardhan. And the 9th rasa in the rasa discourse, which is the Shantaras, was being added from the Kashmir only. So we have produced so much great philosophers, aestheticians, theologians, and other scholars as well. So that is the reason when we talk about the 8th, 9th century Kashmir, it had reached to the pinnacle of its intellectual heights, because it was the same time when Kashmir has emerged as a Sharda Peetha, or the highest seat of learning, not only in Kashmir or in India, but across the world. That's why, because of this significance, that the famous philosopher of like Islamic mysticism is a Mansur al-Hallaj, about which I think Hanglusa was talking about. He's a person who all the way from his place came to Kashmir in the 9th, 10th century AD, to know about the doctrinal features of India and the people of Kashmir. So in this intellectual milieu, we have given birth to one of the finest philosophical traditions or religio-philosophical traditions. We call that, unfortunately, Kashmir Shaivism. It actually is not Kashmir Shaivism, because this Kashmir Shaivism term is a later invention. It has been given to it by the 19th century Bengal scholar Jagdish Chandra Chatterjee. But when we go its Shastras, either it's called the Pratyabhikya Darshan, or the philosophy of recognition, or sometimes it is so difficult that some scholars prefer to call it as a Rahasya Sampradaya, or the mysterious philosophy, or Abhinav Guptaji calls it as a Trik Shastra or Trik Shaivism, that Shaivite philosophy which expresses its theology, philosophy, or scriptural authority into triads. So when we talk about the Kashmir Shaivism, I will not go into its details, but according to the tradition, it emerged in the mid-9th century AD, when, according to this tradition, Shiv Sutras were being revealed by the Lord Shiva in the form of Shrikant to the Vasugupt, who used to live in the area called Shatarhata Davana, which is nowadays in Nishad, Shalimar area. So then after, when this tradition started, its philosophical side was being further developed by the philosophers like Somananda, who has composed the Shiva Drishti, or the vision of Shiva. Then its nuanced philosophical text, on whose name the tradition got its name, is the Utpala Deva's Ishvara Pratyabhikya Karika. And then Abhinav Gupta wrote the two commentaries on the same text, Ishvara Pratyabhikya Karika, Vritti and Vivritti. And then its other dimensions were also developed by the Bhattakallata, or then we have a Shema Raja. So when I started with the Abhinav Gupta saying that he gives the importance to the heart, he gives, Laldet also gives. That's why the Shema Raja has also given his text name as a Pratyabhikya Hirdayam. That's a recognition of heart. Because Kashmir Shaivism says that if you are able to recognize your heart, that's how you will be able to recognize your like God within. So what this philosophy is all about, why it came in that very time and period, because for as students of history or an early career historian, we don't look things in the vacuum. We actually try to locate them in the time and space, or whatever the context they have. So it was the same time period, like 9th century, when there was a crisis in the already existing religious traditions, be it the Vaishnavism or the Shaiva traditions, because before the Kashmir Shaivism, we have other Shaiva traditions in Kashmir. We have a reference of one tradition called the Pashupat Shaiva tradition. Another, we have the Vedic Puranic Shaiva tradition, and a lot of traditions. So there were crises. So religion was being highly used to fill the bellies of the clergy class. So Kashmir Shaivism actually came up with a different theology and philosophy. It believed more in the yoga. It believed more in the tantra. It believed more in self-efforts. You must be able to recognize God by your own efforts, not by sacrificing or doing a yajna. So what this philosophy says us about how to recognize God. So the basic philosophical argument of this Kashmir Shaivite philosophy is that the ultimate reality, I will not call that reality as God or as Allah, as Parmeshwar, no, because Kashmir Shaivism says that we cannot conceptualize that ultimate reality in any of the form. As like the Utpala Deva says, ki Ishvara Bahira Unumeshu Nimeshu Natha Sadashivaha. Outwardly, some people call you Shiva, or some people call you Sadashiva. But what you are beyond one's understanding, which is the transcendental aspect of God. And that transcendental aspect, which is in the Buddhist philosophical reality, who is one is Chatushkoti Vinir Mukt, all the four logical assumptions. So he is the one to whom we are not able to conceptualize. And that ultimate reality and this entire universe is one. They are not different. Just for example, the first sutra of Shiva Sutra opens like Chaitanyam Atma, Chaitanya, which still philosophers debate, we will not be able to explain what the word Chaitanya means or Chit means. So in Kashmiri we call it Hes. So this is Chaitanya Atma. The Chaitanya of the consciousness is the Atma of everything. Or the Pratyabhikya Hirdayam of the Shemaraji opens like Chitti Swatantra Vishwa Siddhi Hetu. Ki Chitti, which is independent, Swatantra, is the Vishwa Siddhi. This is a source of entire whatever is existing around. So this philosophy says the universe and whatever exists, it is not different. They are all one. And the entire everything you, me, it is within the self of the Shiva. So according to this philosophy, that if we are right now in this hall attending and talking about things, this hall is within the self of the Shiva. So too we are. But what is the problem? Why we consider like me as a Haroon, Haglu sir as a Haglu sir, Zafar sir as Zafar sir? So Kashmir Shaivism says it is because of we have got that the perspective of the duality or Dvat. And how we got it? It is because of the three malas. Anavamal, Mayyamal and the Karamamal. And because of those malas you have got caught up by the Shat Kanchuka, 6 coverings. So I'll briefly introduce 6 coverings to simplify. So first covering is Niyati, which is a space. So we are bound in a space, we are right now in a Kashmir. But God is not bounded by the space. He is everywhere. So this limitation applies to us. Then is a Kala. So we know specific kind of thing, but God knows everything. God is Sarvagya. Kal. And that's a time. We are bounded in like 2026. We were not there in the 1888. But God was there and God is here and God will be there. Vidya, which is a knowledge. I know like history. I don't know rocket science. I don't know quantum physics. So God is one who knows everything. Ra, which is the attachment. So God doesn't have attachment. We do have attachment with the family, with the friends. That's why Abhinav Gupta in one of his texts like Tantra Lok says that Rag is the biggest thing which actually tries to differentiate God and the being, Nara and the Shiva. And that's how Rag is the important thing, attachment is the important thing, which actually is the biggest obstacle of reaching us to the God. And Abhinav Gupta says that the greatest day of happiness for me was the day when my mother passed away, when the Vimla Kala passed away. So everybody is shocked, why somebody whose mother has been lost and why is he happy? He says that the greatest attachment of a student or a son or anybody is his mother. So once my mother Vimla Kala passed away, that was the day when I got liberation. So Rag is another thing. And then is a Maya. Maya, Kashmir Shaivism isn't say, it is not negating actually the existence of Nyaya like that of the in the negativity like that of Advaita Vedanta. But Maya is something, Kashmir Shaivism says Maya is not illusion. मतलब जैसे अद्वैत वेदांत कहता है कि जब आपको रियलाइजेशन हो जाएगी तो पूरा यूनिवर्स गायब हो जाएगा, तो इल्यूजन खत्म हो जाएगा. But Kashmir Shaivism says कि Maya is a delusion. It's not an illusion. So what is meant by saying Maya is a delusion? That Kashmir Shaivism said कि once you get the Pratyabhigyan of God, world will not vanish as the Advaita Vedanta talks about. But what will happen? We'll be able to understand world in a right perspective. So we are right now in a delusion. So Kashmir Shaivism says that you should be able to overcome from these malas and these kanchukas, and how you will be able to do it? You have the 3 paths. Anavamal, Anam Upai, which is for a person who is more inclined towards the worldly life. Then Shakto Upai. Anav Upai, Shakto Upai for those who are like 50% with this world, 50% with the next world concerned. Then there's Shambha Upai. Shambha Upai is for those who are more concerned in searching the God. But Kashmir Shaivism says that it is not mandatory that you will follow this path and you will get the God. In Kashmir Shaivism says that self-effort is okay. For example, Muslims do offer namaz. Like Pandits go to the like temples, they do worship, they do yajna. This is okay. It has a very limited scope. But Kashmir Shaivism says that you will not be able to reach the God. You will not be able to have a pratyabhigyan of God by your self-efforts. It's only the divine grace. If you will be able to realize the God, it's only the divine grace. So without the divine grace, you will not be able to understand the God. So when we talk about, and Kashmir Shaivism says that it is not mandatory that you will be able to get God by following the Anam Upai, Shakta Upai, Shambha Upai. But if a person is like he is there in the world doing his own thing, suddenly God can make him realize his own self. So that Kashmir Shaivism says that it's an Upai, which is a pathless path. Now, coming to